Hey everybody, it's Jenny, and I am here with you today to share how I planned this week in my memory planner. I'm really so excited about it. I've been so jazzed about this project. It's been turning out even better than my plans, and I love it when that happens. You can see last week it was a mix of a 6x6 patterned paper and embellishments, and this week I've already added a couple of stickers. I just did that because I was so excited about these particular stickers. You can see how I pre-plan in my traveler's notebooks. I use a pocket size, and I have pre-printed my photos using my Canon Selphy printer. I will link you up to both down below in case that looks like an idea that you might want to try as well. Now you can see that I do use a permanent pen to label on the edges of the photos the dates, just because sometimes later on, if I pre-print the photos a few weeks in advance, I kind of forget, and that has just caused, I don't want to say problems, but it's really slowed down my process a little bit, so I find that it's super simple at the time to just write down the dates really quickly. Now I'm laying out the photos in terms of the day of the week that they happened, and I am making plans mentally for not only where they'll go or how they'll be placed, but maybe their shape or how they were layered together as well. I'm using my Tombow mono adhesive to adhere them down. I will link that up for you below as well. It's genuinely my favorite adhesive for this particular project. It's really super sticky, it's really easy to use, and it's just quick and inexpensive as well. Now you can see that I am layering the photos in terms of over the lines for the particular dates or over like that one for example over the sticker. I'm not particularly married to the lines. To me they're suggestions, they're not like hard things that they must be adhered to. I don't really also, some of the things, if there's too many photos for a particular day, I don't have to have ordinary photos, like that photo example right there of my cat getting into a drawer. It's not really imperative that it falls on October 19th. However, I didn't have a different photo for that day, so I was okay with adding it there. But I would have been okay adding it on any other random date just because it's not really particularly important. Now I pulled out my circle punch and I'm going to go ahead and punch that one of those boys. It's a secondary picture from that event, and so I wanted to be able to add both of them and have them fit really nicely. And so I didn't need the background and the whole thing, so just punching it out worked out okay for me. And I love the clustering of the photos together and then also the different shapes as well. I just think they turn out really nicely. Now I'm going to finish filling in all of the adhered photos since I've got all of the overall placement for them and stuff like that. So I'll go ahead and pull out the page just so I have the smoothest working surface possible. Now obviously there's stuff on the back, there's die cuts and photos and stickers, so you are going to have a little bit of bumpiness, so that has to be taken into consideration when writing and stamping. However, taking it out of the Happy Planner at least gives me the smoothest surface possible. Now I am using these three larger little icon stickers. They're from a much, much, much older sticker book, like seriously one of the very first ones that the Happy Planner released, but I still really like them and I think that they're fun to work with. And so I am just going ahead and using those as bullet points for these particular activities. Now there's lots of photos this week and I'm adding a lot of decoration and other things, so I'm trying to keep it as simple as humanly possible with the activity stickers. So there you go with the bullet points, because I don't want to just make it so crazy that where does a person even begin with looking at these types of things. Now I'm using the alphabet stickers just to notate that my son had an x-ray on this particular day. It's very simple and I've turned them on their side just to make it a little bit more interesting, as opposed to keeping it the same as that longer October sticker down below. And so I just felt like this was kind of a fun way to change it up and make it a little bit different and more interesting. For anybody who's curious, I am using on just the regular pages, I'm using a Papermate Flare pen. Those are my favorite for writing. They just work really well with my handwriting. And then on these matte stickers, they also work really well. They don't write on glossy stickers. I mean, they do write, but then they would smear. So I don't use them on the glossy stickers, but I do love them for anything that's matte. They just work really well with my particular handwriting, the size and the way that I write. I try gel pens all the time and I like them just fine, but I always come back to the Flare. They're just my favorite. And I stick with black most of the time. I do like the other colors. I just find that the black just feels most like me, and I like the results the most when I use the black. Now, this watercolor sticker book, I don't even actually know if that's the name of it. It might be productivity, I'm not sure. But I feel like the colors in here kind of go with the color palette of the overall theme, like the fall. And then there's obviously stickers in here that just work. I mean, they're pretty basic despite the fact that they have a little bit of watercolory flair on there. Now I'm layering that sticker on top of that photo down below. It definitely needed an explanation. A lot of photos don't need explanation. Like, a baseball picture, obviously it's at a baseball game, so it's not really particularly necessary. However, this is the type of photo that sometime down the road I would really need some sort of explanation like, oh yeah, that's what that was, because it's really not as self-explanatory as some others. Now, the black journaling lines that I use with my pen, these are something I have been using for what feels like 100 years, but maybe more like 10, I don't know, in my scrapbooking. And so when I started memory planning in January of 2016, that really became one of the things that I brought with me from scrapbooking, in addition to layering and clustering. But the black journaling lines were another one of them. It's something that just really feels like me. I like the way that it looks on the page. I like the contrast with the white paper, and it really helps me get the journaling done most efficiently because it gives me a designated space for it. It doesn't have all that wonky writing, like where you're writing slants uphill or downhill or something like that. And so it's just one of those things that I have been doing for so long in so many different ways, and I just really enjoy that I've been able to bring that into my planning as well. Now you can see that I am using the bullet point stickers yet again down here on Thursday evening. There was so much that I needed to include in terms of information and activities, and so I made sure that the I could get them all fit in here, and that is where the bullet points come in because they're an easy way to designate different activities, yet keeping it very, very simple. Because as you could see there, I mean, I could just have all kinds of stickers there for that. But instead, I decided to go with the bullet points, and I feel like that was the right choice. Now, there are just about a gazillion things going on this page. It was a crazy week, but I finally did pull out one of those game day stickers and created this little cluster over there on the Saturday and the Sunday. And it's really, honestly, that's kind of one of my favorites in a while. I love the couple of rectangles and then the addition of the circle and the way that they play together in terms of just the tiniest bit of layering. It all came together really, really well. Now, obviously, I'm not finished in terms of adding things to that particular point or part of the page, but for right now, I just kind of love how that all turned out. Now, that was unexpected for me. Like, I was just kind of flipping through and I saw that quote, and it was really perfect for not only this week, like in the color palette, but then also like that particular spot as well. So I had to add it. It was just one of those things that it was kind of a no-brainer. Now I'm just adding another activity sticker. I had to pull it up because it just wasn't quite right, but I'm going to go ahead and add it to the Saturday evening instead. And it goes color palette wise. Like, I mean, it's not an exact match or anything like that, but I feel like overall it is just fine. I hate it when they are not straight. I don't actually care that much, but I know it bothers a bunch of you. And so I do try my hardest to make sure that they're straight so that it's not irritating to watch. But like I said, I don't really care because when it all comes together in the end, I feel like it's not all that noticeable or all that interesting. Now there's one of those glossy stickers, and I have to use the Tombow Mono Twin pen just because I love the tip. I think it writes so amazing, and it just is really just the perfect pen in terms of it also has a thicker side on the other side, so if you want to use it for something else, but it's really my favorite. I enjoy it very, very much. Now you can see how the whole thing is kind of coming together. I'm just still sort of flipping through looking for little decorations and little pieces where I can add a little bit of fall flair every now and again. I don't want to go crazy, but adding a few leaves here and a pumpkin there, it just gives it that sort of feeling. Yeah, it's no overwhelming or anything like that. So in that lower right hand box, for example, it's got the visual triangle of the three leaves, you can see, but it's not overwhelming. Like, so I'm not adding anything else to that. It has a decorative feel, but it is not cluttered or too much either. So I already am definitely struggling with that there's just so much going on this page, but most of it's actually not decorative. I mean, there's definitely decorative elements. However, most of it, truth be told, is the photos and the stories and the activities, which that's the whole reason I'm doing this in the first place, is to tell the stories and notate the activities. So I can't help you there. And by you, I mean me, obviously. So as you can see, we have some more bullet points up there, and I'm using the gold arrows. And I like the arrows very much, especially in a situation like this where it's right next to the photo. It's easy to line those up really nicely. And obviously the arrows just lend themselves really well to being used for a bullet point. Now I'm going to add more journaling lines. Again, I'm just using my black pen and I'm staggering the lines. I don't love making them line up perfectly because I feel like, one, that's hard to do, and so then when you mess one up it's really obvious, and two, this just lends itself to a much more playful and fun feeling. So especially in a block like this that's really large of a lot of lines and just covers a big amount of space, I feel like the staggered lines make it feel a lot more casual as opposed to, like a notebook or whatever that has really rigid line design. Now I'm trying to write down all of the little things, kind of, bringing the weekend together or the second half of the week together. But truth be told, there was so much that went on this week that was actually really, really hard to do because there's just so many things to include. So you can see here I even had to add an extra line because, I mean, there was just so much that I needed to add here because there were so many things that went on. I was trying to do that in a really concise way to add all of the things, yet not be too crazy or go into too much detail based on the amount of space that I had. Now I want to add just a little bit more decoration, a couple of little pumpkin stickers here and there, and then fill in a few more things, and I am finished. Thanks so much, guys, for stopping by and watching my video. I really do appreciate it. If you have any questions, please leave it in the comment box below, and I will do my very best to get back to you. Thank you so much, and make it a great day.